Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, state troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. Police agencies are constantly vigilant, always on the alert for the predictable type of crime. But unfortunately, all criminal acts are not predictable. And often the most commonplace incidents, things you may see every day in the street, can have the most unusual significance. These people, disguised as guards for the Superior Armored Car Service and using a duplicate truck, move quickly and efficiently in stealing $29,000. Such was the case in a routine weekly armored truck money pickup at a large supermarket. A few minutes later, the usual proved to be very unusual indeed, when the legitimate, the real armored truck appeared at the market for its regular pickup. Within moments, it was discovered that a robbery had taken place, and in the smoothest manner possible. The Highway Patrol was immediately notified.
Okay, Mr. Gregory, that's enough information to start with. We'll be in touch. Did you get that in the extension?
Yes, an armored car just don't disappear into thin air.
This one did for the time being, anyway. Send somebody down to the Shermart Market. Have him pick up the manager, Mr. Gregory. Bring him back here. Also a list of all his employees, past and present.
Will do.
Get a complete check on the Superior Armored Car Service. See if any of their trucks are unaccounted for this afternoon. Do the same with all companies that use armored trucks.
Could have been driven in from another city.
Yeah, you might be right. You better run it down. Then find out about all recent orders for sheet metal to garages and auto repair shops. Get a complete list of all the employees, past and presently employed by the Superior Armored Car Service. Check all places that build cars to order. Put every available man on this.
Got it.
All right, let's get it rolling.
Doors and fast.
We made it.
You said it, baby. Go on and change your clothes. Went like clockwork. I'll handle the money, Walt. Get the uniforms, will you?
Look, you act like I had nothing to do with this. I had to keep my shop closed and locked for 2 weeks while I phonied this panel up to look like the real armored truck.
Okay, so you're the mechanic. Get going.
All right. I was just thinking
about making the split now, huh?
Well, I don't see anything so terrible about it.
I must have told you 100 times when most guys run into trouble. They make a plan and then don't stick with it. The cops can't get you unless you got a record. In our case, they haven't got any because we never pulled a job before. We planned not to touch this money for 6 months, didn't we?
Sure, but...
And that's the way it's going to be with you at this auto shop of yours for the next 6 months. Business as usual.
Understood.
Come on, Kay, let's get started. Now, Walt, remember, burn those uniforms. Strip the phony windows and stuff off this truck and paint it as fast as you can.
It'll all be taken care of.
Walt, don't come around the stand. Let's go, baby.
Everything seemed perfectly normal, Mr. Matthews. I had no idea it was a robbery. Not until the real armored car showed up at the store a few minutes later.
How long have you been manager of the store?
Since it opened? Last year. But I've been with the chain 7 years, sir.
And they got, let me see here, 29,000.
Yes, sir.
When they came in, did they show you the proper identification?
Well, to be honest, they showed it, but I didn't really check it. I didn't question them. There's been other guards in the past. I saw the car pull up outside. I had no reason to be suspicious. The money is picked up each week at approximately the same time. As I said, everything
Yeah, I
seems...
know. It looked perfectly normal. This a list of your employees, past and present?
Yes, it is.
Sergeant, check this with criminal records. Get me the answer as soon as you can.
Art, please, put it away.
What's the matter with you?
I just feel better if you put it away.
29,000 lovely American beauties. 29,000. And they'll be even lovelier to spend. I just think in 6 months we'll be living like...
Please?
Okay. Better?
Only we didn't have to keep it here.
Okay. So I'll deposit it in a bank. It's not every week we get a windfall like this, baby.
I know, Art. But I've got a feeling things will never be the same again.
You bet they won't. We'll never have to scrounge around to make ends meet. You won't be wearing last year's dresses. We'll be somebodies, you and me. A lady and a gentleman, not hash slingers. People will be waiting on us instead of our waiting on them. You said you wanted that, didn't you? Well, didn't you?
Yes, Art. That's what I wanted.
Only now you're excited like I said, that's all. It'll be okay. Come on, let's open up, hmm? Kay? Kay?
All right, Art.
A perfect day, Kay. At a perfect spot.
We shouldn't be here right across the street. It's too close.
We can keep up with what's going on here. They'll never suspect us right across the street. Unless all of a sudden we should pull out.
Mr. Matthews, the reports are completed.
Bring them in.
The criminal records check on his employees was negative.
And the other reports?
All superior trucks and those of other companies operating in this area were accounted for, but there is something.
What?
This is a report on recent orders of sheet metal. This one here is particularly interesting.
Oh, Burns Auto Shop, 1863 Elm Place, operated by Walter E. Burns. Order placed 7 weeks ago.
And this is a report on specialists in custom-built cars. This name here underlined.
Burns Auto Shop.
Report on mechanics past and presently employed by the Superior Armored Car Service. It pops up there again.
Walter E. Burns, chief mechanic from 48 to 53, rated one of the best. Well, that makes 3 out of 3.
Looks like they might have built their own.
Could be, but that's doing it the hard way. Let's see what happens with Burns when we ask him a few questions.
Well, he's not around. The truck.
Yeah, this.
Sheet metal and glass.
That's the truck they used, all right. They did a good job, too. Check around here. See if you can find his home address, then send a patrol car out there right away. I'll wait here.
are, sir. Guarantee it'll melt in your mouth. Art. I've got to talk to you. Keep your voice down. Fool, I told you not to come around here, didn't I? It was only 24 hours. The police were at my garage. It's impossible. You're just jumpy. Sure, I'm jumpy, but they were there, I tell you. The highway patrol. What did they ask you? I got out before they had a chance to ask me anything. You crazy. It was probably just routine. I wasn't taking any chances. The phony windows are still on the panel. You were supposed to strip it and paint it. I haven't had time. All right, I'm getting out of town. I was even afraid to go back to my apartment for a change. I need money for traveling, and for clothes. And I want my share now. I don't have it here. Listen to me, Art. I want it. I need it. All right. Not now. Then when? Tonight, 9 o'clock. All right. I'll be back then. Not here. I'll meet you up at the River Road, 9 o'clock. We'll settle everything then.
Failed to return to his garage or his home, an APB pickup order was radioed to all local points. The bulletin was repeated at regular intervals. When the APB failed to bring results, a tri-state alarm was teletyped. The hours passed. All reports coming into headquarters were negative.
I thought you'd never get here.
It's just 9. Such a perfect plan. Say, Walt, I wonder how the cops ever got to your place.
How do I know? Did you bring the money? I gotta go.
That's what we're here for, Walt. A final settlement.
The money's in the car, huh?
No, Walt.
Come on, quit kidding.
Who's kidding?
Now look, guard!
You killed him. You didn't say you were going to do a thing like that.
Had to be done, Kay.
No. No.
The police would have caught up with him. He'd have talked. Where would we be?
Killing. No.
The only practical way, baby.
The search for Walter Burns continued, but no results were forthcoming. There was not one trace, not one positive indication of where the wanted man might have gone.
Matthews. What? Where? I'll be right out. They found Burns on the River Road, murdered. What'd the medical examiner say?
Death was instantaneous. Happened by 9:15 p.m.
You got the report at 9:30?
That's right. By a local farmer. He was passing by, saw the parked car, and investigated it.
Did you see any other cars on the road?
No, but there's another car here. It was parked just over there.
Any sign of the money?
No, but Burns, by the way, didn't have a cent in his pocket.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? $29,000 robbery, not a cent in his pocket. He gets paid off by being murdered.
The earth around here is soft and muddy. We got good impressions of the other car's tires. I think there were 710-15s. We also got good impressions of the shoe print.
After the lab boys make prints, send them in for analysis.
Right.
Maybe they'll walk the killer right into our hands.
You were asleep.
What were you going to do with that briefcase? Tell me. What were you going to do with it? Tell me!
I wanted to burn it.
You what?
Destroy it. I thought it might change things. Undo what's been done. Bring us back to where we were before all this started. We were happy then.
I'm happy now.
Not happy. Different. A murderer.
This is the way things are going to stay. And don't you ever get such thoughts again. Kay! Don't try anything foolish. You understand?
Well, here they are, sir. All set and analyzed.
All right, what's the rundown?
Shoe size 8D.
That makes him out a man of medium height, huh?
Oh, we put his height at 5'8", give or take an inch.
Is he heavy?
No, sir, not over 140.
All right, go on.
They were inexpensive shoes. I'd say about a year old. Outside leather is showing the grain, and perforation marks are spread wide. And notice this.
The sole seems to be pretty thin right there.
Either sloppy in appearance, or can't afford to keep his shoes in shape. Judging from the low quality, I'd pick the latter.
Well, I'm surprised that you lab boys can't come up with the name and the phone number.
We could if you'd written it on his heel.
Okay, I'm stopped.
We're not. Now look at this, Mr. Matthews.
Let me see. Heel's worn down on the inside.
Well, notice the arches on both shoes.
Frankly, I don't see anything special.
Well, we did. These prints were made by a pair of shoes with specially built-in arches. Cheap ones, but specially built in, just the same.
We couldn't ask much more from one set of prints, could we?
Except the name and the phone number. Check all the shoe stores in the area that sell shoes with specially built-in arch supports. Get on it right away.
Right.
Mud. Mud.
It's blood, Arthur. And no matter how hard you try, the blood won't come off.
Blood? What's the matter with you? Just some mud I stepped in.
Walt's blood.
Stop that. You're supposed to be out front. You're supposed to act like nothing happened. Business as usual, remember?
Business as usual.
That's right. For the next 6 months, everything according to plan.
You know what they say about the best laid plans?
Cut that. Now cut it. This is one plan that's gonna work. Then in 6 months...
6 months. Don't you know time is already up for us? Don't you realize it's already too late?
Get out there and take care of the customers. I'm going out. I'll be back in an hour.
Number of the railroad station, please. Information booth. Yes, regarding time of trains leaving the city. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's keep trying and keep in touch. Come in.
The report on Burns' friends is completed.
Anything at all?
No. Anything from the shoe tracer detail?
Willis has come up empty, too.
What about the other sections of the detail?
Same so far. Matthews. Yes, Koufax. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I got that. Where does he live? No, I'll take care of this myself, thanks. Kovacs just called from a shoe store on 2nd Street. They've got a customer who comes in every year and buys shoes with specially built-in arch supports. Cheap brand, too. Description fits him to a T. His name's Denson.
That's a break.
Oh, there's more. He and his wife run a hamburger stand on Venter Avenue. They live in an apartment directly in back of it, right across from the market that was robbed.
Let's go.
I thought you'd try something like this. That's why I said I was going out. To test you.
Art,
Where were you going?
I didn't know it. I just had to get away.
With the money?
No, Art.
All that acting crazy. Just so you could pull a stunt like this.
I didn't want the money, believe me. It's still in the briefcase in the cabinet. Well, see for yourself. It's still there.
Going anywhere. You're staying here with me.
Oh, please, Art, let me go.
Police.
All right, come out, Denson. All exits are covered.
Do what he says, Art. It's best this way.
Do what he says, huh? You think I went through all this for nothing?
The money's no good to you now. Please, Art, listen to me just this once.
Come out, Denson, with your hands above your head. Come on out, Denson, or we'll come in after you.
Art, it's your only chance.
All right. All right. I'm coming out. Turn around. Turn around. I'm coming out. Get back. Get back. Get over there. Get over there. If you get me, you get her first.
Shoot, it doesn't make any difference. Shoot!
They won't. Cops don't kill ladies. Drop your guns, gentlemen. Get up those steps, quick. Get up there! Go on. Over there.
Let's go.
That was his wife. She's all right.
I'll call the ambulance. All the time. It's just across the street. patrol story next week is a very unusual one. We hope you'll be with us. Until then, remember, it isn't the car that kills, it's the driver. This is Bradley Crawford saying see you next week.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, state militia, the Rangers, or the Highway Patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. The protection of the public in its ownership of automobiles and the apprehension of the car thief are two of the chief duties of the Highway Patrol. At 8:45 on the morning of June 22nd, a luxury residence. At the same moment, Officer Dorsey, patrolling his beat on regular detail, was approaching the same intersection.
The engine number's checked with the registration. And nothing has been tampered with.
Finally waking up. You think if I stole this car, I'd leave the engine numbers the same? It's not done that way, and you know it. Why don't you give the Woodstock Bank a call?
What for?
That's where I live. That's where I bought the car.
You said you paid by cash.
Look, I met this Hilliard dame at the bank. I paid her cash. Why don't you call them?
Baker. Now, DMV has a dope on those certificates.
Give me the Woodstock Bank, too. How's Matthews?
Woodstock Bank.
There's no doubt about the information at all. Thanks. Your owner's certificate is phony from corner to corner. The real certificate's owned by the Auto Finance Corporation. They hold the mortgage on Mrs. Hilliard's red convertible.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Hold on. Here's Mr. Matthews. Mr. Frazier at the Woodstock Bank.
Mr. Frazier, this is Matthews, Highway Patrol. We're holding a Joe Ramo here.
Holding Joe Ramo? What for?
Suspicion of auto theft. Do you know him?
Everybody knows Joe Ramo. A diamond in the rough, I guess, but up and coming. A good account. He'll be worth money someday. Car theft. Mr. Matthews, you've made a mistake.
Describe this Ramo, will you?
Oh, you couldn't miss him. About 35, stocky, rough as a cob. Always looks a little tight in his clothes. And a stick pin in his tie. A diamond horseshoe. If there's no diamond horseshoe, it's not Joe Ramo.
Was he in your bank yesterday?
Matter of fact, he was. He drew $4,000 to pay for a car. I put the money in Mrs. Hilliard's hand myself.
Thanks very much, Mr. Fraser. Mr. Ramo, we owe you an apology. Just found out you're a victim, not a thief.
That's okay. I get the picture now. And I don't blame you. But you should have seen this redhead who took me. Blue eyes and the prettiest little ears you ever saw.
How'd you meet her?
She ran an ad in the Woodstock paper.
When?
Yesterday, I know because I've been watching the classified.
That car was stolen the day before yesterday.
That's a good racket. Steal a car downstate, sell it upstate next day for a good price.
How'd they expect to get away with a phony certificate like that?
They got your $4,000, didn't they?
Yeah, but when I'd file with a motor vehicle, wouldn't they find out?
No, it takes a couple of weeks to process those things. Anyway, your redhead would be 200 or 300 miles away by then. Well, we'll do everything we can to get your money back for you, believe me. Sorry if we inconvenience you. My boys will drop you off wherever you want to go. Show them out, Vic.
I want to get back to Woodstock and get that dame that took me.
Now, let us handle this. When you get back home, don't say anything about the car theft, especially to the newspapers. We'll call you.
Okay.
Thanks again. Woodstock, Hillsborough, and Lakewood. Richest suburbs in the state. I wonder if they got any cars up there for sale. Get into plain clothes. We'll go up and answer every car for sale ad we can find.
Parkers as well as careless drivers. The simplest way for the car thief to steal a vehicle is provided by the driver who leaves the keys in the ignition. Once the car is in the hands of the thief, the job of the patrol becomes increasingly more difficult. In a matter of hours, the car can be in another section of the state where it is not listed on the hot sheet, and the vehicle assumes a new personality.
Operator, get me long distance.
Hello?
Ann, Wally, we're all set. I've got the car. We'll advertise there in Lakewood. Do you have a good motel picked out?
Only the best. It couldn't be plushier. Swimming pool and air conditioning. I checked and there's vacancy. It's the Colony Motel on the main highway just outside of Lakewood.
Fine, fine. Now listen. We'll put the ad in the Lakewood paper. A 1956 model sedan, almost brand new, price $3,900. Got it?
Well, I've got it, but $3,900. Look, Wally, this is the last one in the state. Why don't you sell it for $35 and let's get out of here faster?
We're not changing the operation now. Make it $3,900. If we sell it cheap, it'll look suspicious. Now take this down.
Oh, wait just a minute. Okay.
Make the certificate out to Mrs. Ann, A-N-N, Bradley, 227 Poplar Drive, Cornwall. The license number is HEW 766. The engine number 9D881. Got it?
9D881. Got it.
It's 12:30 now. I'll meet you at Terminal Park at 2 by the lake. You know where it is?
Yeah, that should give me time.
All right. Everything taken care of?
Oh, sure. The ad will be in the afternoon papers. Oh, and here's the owner's certificate.
Not a bad job. Not bad at all. You seem to be acquiring more ability. That's possible.
I try, Wally. After all, that's all a girl can do is try.
Norma get back all right?
Oh, yeah, she's at the motel now. She had that Ramo character in the palm of her hand all the way. He couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted the car or Norma. How's things downstate?
Smooth. The people that own the old jalopies are always afraid someone's going to steal their car, but if you look long enough, you can always find someone in a shiny new car with the keys in the ignition. And here they are. Drive carefully. And don't contact us unless it's absolutely necessary.
Right. And here are my keys.
Okay, let's go.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Nice-looking car. Shouldn't be too hard to sell.
it won't be.
My bag's in the car.
Investigation in Woodstock proved Joseph Ramo's story to be true, but the woman who had swindled him had disappeared. By 12 noon of the same day, Dan Matthews and Patrolman Dorsey had arrived at Lakewood, 30 miles farther north, in order to investigate car for sale advertisements in this area.
I could be there in about 15 minutes if that's convenient. Fine, thanks very much. Don't you get anything?
Answer 3 in Hillsborough and 4 in Greenlawn, none of them fit.
I've got one sounds interesting. Mrs. Ann Bradley, Colony Motel, Lakewood. License number HEW 766.
Well, it's not on her hot sheet.
It could have been stolen last night. She's asking $3,900. That makes it a possibility. You know, I hope she's a redhead with the prettiest pink ears that Ramo's ever seen.
Yes.
I called about the car.
Oh, hello. You must be Mr. Daniels.
That's right.
So good of you to come. My car's right out here. Would you like to see it?
Yes, if you don't mind.
All right. Well, I hate to part with it, but there it is.
If it runs as good as it looks, it'll be well worth the money.
Do you live here in Lakewood, Mr. Daniels?
No, California's my state. Just passing through. I'm in the copper mining business. See, I wrecked my car outside of town this morning.
I'm so sorry. I'm glad you weren't hurt. Where are you staying?
The Pine Tree Motel.
You would have to understand one thing, Mr. Daniels. I'm from downstate, and your home is a long way from here. I'm afraid the sale, that is, if you're interested, would have to be for cash.
I can have the money at the local bank in an hour. I assume the speedometer hasn't been set back.
Of course not. Can you tell by just looking at it?
Yeah, sometimes you can. You own it outright?
Of course, it's in my name. Douglas, well, my husband and I were recently separated. The car came to me in the settlement.
It's too bad you have to sell it.
Well, I wasn't going to. See, I drove all the way up from Cornwall, where our home was, intending to drive to New York. But all of a sudden, it seemed like such a lonely drive, I'm going to fly instead. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Daniels.
I'll take it off your hands. I'll have the local bank wire my bank and the money will be there. You have the owner's certificate, of course.
Yes. Shall I meet you at the Lakewood Bank?
How about 2 o'clock?
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniels.
Right,
Lakewood Bank at 2.
Redhead?
As it's a blonde and so on, it's looking, it'll make you sick. 2150 to headquarters.
Go ahead, 2150.
Check registration. Mrs. Ann Bradley, address 227 Poplar Drive, Cornwall. Engine number 9 David 8881. License HEW 766. 10-4?
10-4.
She's honest looking. When she's passing phony certificates, that's the kind of a dame they'd use. I'm going to make a phone call to Cornwall. See if there's a Douglas Bradley there. He's supposed to be her husband.
Headquarters to 2150.
2150 to headquarters. Go ahead.
Pending report on Bradley car. Check of all car theft reports to present time. Does not list license Henry Edward William 766.
10-4.
You see there's a business phone listed for a Doug Bradley? Try it, will you?
The car's not stolen. As far as headquarters is concerned, it's not on the hot sheet.
You know that address she gave us? She's listed. I called, but there's nobody home. I'm now trying Doug Bradley.
Headquarters to 2150.
Get that, will you?
$21.50 to headquarters. Go ahead.
Partial report on Bradley car shows Ann Bradley, 227 Poplar Drive, Cornwall, is registered owner. Car is owned outright by her.
10-4.
Mr. Douglas Bradley, please. This is Matthews, Highway Patrol. Say he's in a meeting? See if you can get him out. This is very, very important. Thank you. Starting to get worse and worse. There's a Doug Bradley, too.
Bad news from Baker, too. The car's registered in her name. She owns it outright.
The engine number checked?
He didn't get the dope on it yet.
Thanks. I'll hold on.
Headquarters to 2150.
Go ahead, headquarters.
Complete report on engine number 9, Denver 8881. Registration is correct in all details. Registration to Mrs. Ann Bradley, correct.
4.
Yes, that's her car, right?
She a blonde, about 5'5"?
That's right.
Well, you were recently separated.
Separated? What are you talking about?
You mean you're not legally separated and she's not driving or flying to New York?
Listen, my wife's in the Cornwall hospital with a fractured leg. As of about 5 minutes ago, we were separated by a distance of 5 miles and nothing else.
Well, Mr. Bradley, the only reason I called is to tell you your wife's car has been stolen. We have a lead on it. We'll call you back. Thanks very much. We hit it. Jackpot.
Can we pick her up?
No. She'll lead us to the rest of her playmates. I'm going to meet her at the bank at 2 o'clock. You stake out here, room 25. $21.50 to headquarters.
Go ahead, 2150.
The Bradley car is hot, but keep it off the hot sheet till further orders.
10-4.
I want an immediate stakeout. Room 25, Colony Motel, Lakewood. Have nearest available car, report to Dorsey. 10-4?
10-4.
When you're relieved, come down to the bank. Stakeout across the street. I'll be inside.
Unfortunately, the plainclothes stakeout was too late. While Dan Matthews and Officer Dorsey were checking on the bogus Ann Bradley, the suspect had left to visit her partners in the car theft operation.
What's up? I told you not to drive around unless you absolutely had to.
Hi, Norma.
Hi, Ann.
I absolutely had to. Our last customer's taking delivery in front of the bank at 2 o'clock, so I just came by to tell you to start packing.
That means we're through. I'm glad you had this one. It was beginning to get on my nerves.
Listen, sweetie, it's less grief than marrying them, and a lot more money.
What does he look like?
Well, he's, heavy, strong-looking.
Mr. Matthews. She must have caught on.
Never mind.
Pops.
Lock that alley!
Right up. Move
almost a perfect operation.
I never carry a gun.
Thanks, Mrs. Bradley, for bringing your friend along. The redhead with the pretty pink ears. All right, move out. See the Highway Patrol in action again next week. Until then, remember, leave your blood at the Red Cross, not on the highway. This is Roderick Crawford saying, see you next week.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state police, state troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. Vandalism, in which acts of violence erupt suddenly without motive or purpose, poses an endless and dangerous puzzle for law enforcement agencies. But the case of Fred Carter was doubly dangerous, for this man used apparently pointless vandalism to mask a sinister motive and a deadly purpose. What appeared to be random sniping at passing cars was in reality a carefully contrived pattern for murder.
Highway Patrol, please.
Highway Patrol, Larrabee. Yes, ma'am. What's your name, please? When did it happen, Miss Cooper? I see. Where are you now? Uh-huh. Can you hold on just a moment, please? Had another sniping at Wellsburg.
Oh, fine. That makes number 8, then.
Apparently doubling up patrol in that area didn't make much impression.
We'll have to impress him a little harder, that's all. Tell Miss Cooper to wait where she is. I want to talk to her.
Here's your location.
Thanks.
Yes, this is the spot. I stopped right here, I think.
Let's see. You were going 35 miles an hour. It takes 78 feet to stop. Another second to apply the brakes. That's another 38 feet. Yeah, I guess you'd stop about right in there.
So he was hiding in there somewhere. Anywhere.
Did he shoot the others from there, too?
No, that'll be too easy. 7 cars have been hit so far. You're number 8.
The only pattern is they form a circle around Wellsburg.
The shell cases we found all come from the same gun.
Then it's someone in Wellsburg.
And he's playing it real careful.
You know, we could retire before we finish combing this brush. We'd better check all the farmers in the area. Then anybody who owns a 22.
Practically every family in the area owns one. Standard equipment on a farm.
Yeah, I know. Take Miss Cooper back to the car. Check the 3 farms at the cutoff. I'll go the other way. Thanks, Miss Cooper.
Good luck.
Dunlap? Matthews, Highway Patrol. May I come in?
Sure.
Sure about the snipings in the past few days?
I sure have.
One of them happened near your place. See anybody with a rifle?
No, I didn't. But I thought it might be the same lad we caught shooting the insulators off our telephone poles last year.
Who was that?
Well, I dropped in on his parents last evening, and the boy couldn't have been the same one. So I'd rather not mention his name. No use making trouble.
Why don't you let us run the investigation? That happens to be our job.
Well, that's the way I am, Mr. Matthews. I see something going wrong, and I just have to set it right, if I can. I don't like to see anybody flaunt the law or take unfair advantage of another person. That's the way I am.
Mm-hmm. Anybody live here with you?
No, not since my sister died. I'm a bachelor. But if I get to the bottom of these shootings, I'll certainly let you know.
Thanks.
It won't be easy, you know. Everybody around here knows how to use a gun.
No, not quite. Somebody knows how to aim one and pull a trigger. There's a difference. Who's got the next farm?
Fred Carter.
Well, Jim.
Hi, Mr. Larkin.
Still figuring on staying around here?
How's my credit?
Credit?
Look, I've been on that farm of mine, or what's left of it, for 5 days, pulling up the weeds. I intend to stay with it, but I've got to have some credit.
No, I don't know, Jim.
I served my time in prison. Now I'm trying to start over.
Well, you were a bad risk long before you went to jail, Jim.
I'm asking you for a break.
Well, you prove to me that you've learned your lesson, and maybe we can work something out.
Never mind, Mr. Larkin.
Wait a minute, Jim. If it's a grub steak you want, or a few potatoes, or a few beans, I'll always help you, Jim.
Keep it.
Matthews, Highway Patrol. You Carter?
Yeah?
Oh, we're checking on the snipers. Been operating in this area. Shot was fired from your land the other day.
Well, I'm not your man. I don't own a gun. Even if I did, I couldn't hit a broadside of a barn. But come on in.
Thanks. Do you happen to see anybody in this area with a rifle today?
You mean boys?
Anybody.
We are looking for boys, aren't you?
Well, why should I?
Well, you know how boys are.
Sure, I know how boys are, but that doesn't make them snipers.
Well, grown men wouldn't go around shooting at cars.
You'd be amazed how many middle-aged juvenile delinquents there are. Hey, you live here alone?
Well, yeah.
Nice-looking girl.
Yeah, I almost married her, but she changed her mind.
That's too bad.
See, you figuring this sniper to be a grown man kind of worries me. Yeah. My own car was hit this morning, you know.
Why didn't you report it?
Well, I was just on my way to town when you drove up. You want to see it?
Yeah, I'd like to.
There it is.
Where'd it happen?
Well, about a mile or so down the road. I thought my tire had picked up a rock. Didn't know it was a bullet till I got home.
Well, if you see anybody with a gun, let us know, will you?
I sure will.
Thanks.
Morning, Emmett.
Oh, good morning, Herb. What can I do for you?
Need a sack of feed.
Okay. Say, your friend Purcell was in. Wanted me to extend him some credit. Can you beat that?
Well, his place is awful run down. Listen, next time he comes in, if he needs help, tell him to see me.
Look, Herb, you don't owe him anything. When you identified him, you were doing your duty. It isn't your fault he went to jail. It's his.
I know. But, well, I'd like to see him get started right.
Well, it's your funeral.
Morning, Fred.
Morning, Herb.
Fred. Anything else, Herb?
The wire mine come in yet?
No, but it should be in this morning.
Well, I'm going to the post office. I'll stop at the barber shop. You call me, huh? I'll be home about noon.
Okay, Herb. Goodbye.
How'd it go?
Couldn't find out a thing, you?
I don't get it. Nobody's seen anything suspicious in the past 4 days. I'll stay with it. You resume patrol. $21.10 to $21.50. $21.10 to $21.50. $21.50 by.
There's been another sniping.
This time the driver's dead. $10-4.
With the discovery of Herbert Dunlap's body sprawled behind the wheel of his pickup truck, the vicious potential hazard inherent in the snipings had become a reality. As Matthews arrived on the scene, he realized that because what looked like vandalism had not been stopped in time, he now had to catch a killer.
It's Dunlap, one of the farmers I talked to.
I've sent for the lab, boys. Did you notice from the position of the wound, it looks like he was hit from almost straight on.
Yeah, but he could have had his head turned. Take a look at his windshield. Judging from that, the bullet came in slightly from the left. He must have died instantly.
Yeah, and turned the wheel as he fell over.
I'm going up the road approximately where he was hit. You get up there, see if you can get a beat on me.
I had a perfect line on you from here. The grass is matted down. I figured that's where you waited. There's a heel print over there and a part of another here.
That's a real nice spot. A little different from all the others.
How do you mean?
The others were a little off to the side. And this one, the traffic hits you head on. We're not looking for a sniper who got careless. We're looking for a guy who deliberately committed murder. Take a look here. That shell could be from the same gun. Get a cast of those heel prints, too. He gets his stuff at Larkin's feed store.
Probably on his way home.
I'm going to the store and talk to the people there. You wait for the coroner and lab men, then meet me. Mr. Larkin?
Yes?
I'm Matthews, Highway Patrol.
Yes.
Tell me something. Who wrote this up?
Well, I did. For Herb Dunlap. But how did you get it? Something wrong?
He's dead.
Herb dead? Why? What happened?
He was shot by a sniper on the highway.
Oh, I can't believe it.
How long have you known him?
Most of my life.
Did he have any enemies?
Oh, not Herb. He got along with everybody. Why, he was as helpful almost to a fault. Why, I don't think there's a person in the world who... Wait a minute. One man might have a grudge against him.
Oh? Who was that?
Jim Purcell. A bad apple.
What about the grudge?
Well, Purcell held up a lumberyard, and Herb saw it. Purcell was sent up for 4 years because Herb identified him at the trial. Otherwise, he would have gone free.
Is he still in prison?
No, he just got out. He came back to town on the bus about 5 days ago.
Where can I find him?
Well, he has a little farm out on the cutoff.
Thanks, Mr. Larkin.
You're welcome, sir.
How'd it go?
I only got a man with a motive.
I brought the cast of that heel print in. I thought you might need it on this end.
Let's check it now. Mr. Larkin?
Yes, sir.
Here's a cast of the heel print found at the scene of the crime.
Why, that looks like the heel of a work shoe that I stock.
Got a pair handy?
Yes, I have. There you are, sir.
Thanks. There's no doubt about it. Any other store in town carry the shoe?
No, I'm the only one in the area. It's a good buy, too. It sells for $5.40.
Anybody buy a pair in the past few days?
Yes, Jim Purcell, about 5 days ago.
Jim Purcell. Let's go. Thanks, Mr. Larkin. Your name, Purcell?
Word got around real fast, didn't it? The black sheep's in town. Better get the cops out there.
All right, come on, let's go inside.
Look, I got work to do. I haven't got time to talk to you.
Take time, it's important.
Okay, what do you want?
You know a guy by the name of Dunlap?
Herb Dunlap? Sure. This town's my home. I know them all.
He testified at the trial, didn't he?
That's right.
And you probably won't mind hearing that he's dead.
You're kidding me.
Somebody shot him. Know anything about it?
Oh, me? No. Why should I?
4 years in jail is a good reason.
Okay, so I paid the state their 4 years. I haven't seen Dunlap since the trial.
Are those the shoes you bought at Larkin's 5 days ago?
Sure, why?
Show me your foot.
What?
Sit down and hold up your foot. Could be close enough.
Yeah. You got a .22 rifle on the place?
That's all I need. Me an ex-con with a gun?
Look around outside. Where were you at noon today?
Right here.
Prove it.
Ah, you know I can't prove it. I never should have come back here. Every little thing that goes wrong.
This is no little thing. It's murder.
Oh, sure. That's going to have my prints all over it because I handled it. I found it here just before you got here. I don't know who put it there or how it got there. Look, I swear I never saw it before. But you're not going to believe me, are you? Not for 1 minute.
Lab just called. There's some discrepancies between the heel of Purcell's shoe and the cast of the print.
Anything ballistics?
Not yet. Highway Patrol, Larrabee. Not yet. Purcell's still sticking with his story.
I've been down in the lab. They've been running a series of tests on that rifle. The slug that killed Dunlap wasn't fired from this gun.
You sure?
Positive. They've been turning slugs under that microscope for an hour. Funny thing is, that shell case we found did come from the gun.
Then it was planted.
That's the way I figure it.
Let's take a ride. Mr. Larkin.
Yes, sir.
We were wrong.
Yeah?
Purcell didn't kill Dunlap.
No, who did?
We don't know. Anybody in here with Dunlap today?
Why, yes. Fred Carter came in while Herb was here.
Now think. Anybody else buy a pair of those work shoes lately?
Well, about 4 days ago, Fred Carter did. Now, surely you don't think Fred. Why, Fred and Herb have been good neighbors for years.
How'd they get along?
Well, pretty well, but not so well lately since Herb's sister died.
Why should that make a difference?
Well, she came out from the east, and Fred started courting her, and Herb didn't think that Fred was, you know, sort of the right man. He was pretty stubborn about it, too. So she finally left, went back east, and she died about a year ago. Left quite a lot of money, too.
To her brother?
Yes, but is that a motive for a murder?
We don't know yet. Thanks.
Mr. Matthews.
Yeah. You heard about the murder, I suppose?
Yes, a terrible thing. That ex-convict Purcell.
He had nothing to do with it. Somebody framed him because he was an ex-con. Bought shoes exactly like his, did a little sniping to confuse things. Left a shell case and heel prints at the scene of the crime, then planted a gun at his house.
But who would do a thing like that?
Let's start with the shoes. Larkin said you bought them.
Are you accusing me?
I want to see him.
Well, this is ridiculous.
Why?
Herb Dunlap was my neighbor, my friend.
Stood between you and the girl you wanted to marry, didn't he?
Well, that was a long time ago.
And it bugged you that he wanted him dead. When he came back, he saw your chance.
But I was a victim of the sniper. My own car was hit.
Yeah, you stood back about 10 feet and shot a hole in your own car. Even angled it down so it wouldn't hit the motor.
Locked.
Radio for help. I'm going after him.
Be careful.
He's probably not armed. This is a foot race.
Carter, you're under arrest.
Only a foot race, huh?
Well, now we know where the murder weapon is. Can you see him?
No.
Rather than use this from this distance, I might as well throw rocks at him.
Yeah, he's really got us outclassed when it comes to weapons.
I don't know. Use both hands on that pistol of yours and take plenty of time.
But he can get off 3 good shots before I get a line on him.
Well, I'll tell you what you do. Zero him in. I'm going to circle around trying to convince him he's covered from both sides. When he turns my way, nail him. Oh, and do me a favor. Don't miss. All right, Sergeant, he's behind those bricks over there. Let's rush him. I'll take it first. I'll get an ambulance. Oh, by the way, you qualified with that pistol of yours this month. See Highway Patrol again next week. Until then, remember, it isn't what you drive, but how you drive that counts. This is Broderick Crawford saying, see you next week.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action. It may be called the state troopers, militia, the rangers, or the highway patrol. These are the stories of the men whose training, skill, and courage have enforced and preserved our state laws. It is the job of all law enforcement agencies, and of the Highway Patrol in particular, to maintain a high standard of safety on our nation's roads. It is the obligation of conscientious citizens to exercise care in choosing and maintaining dependable, safe-driving automobiles. On the morning of May 15th, 2 young people purchased an old car, apparently the best they could afford, from a local used car dealer. But this was no ordinary young couple. The man was Steve Talbot, 2-time loser on counts of armed robbery. The woman, his wife, Audrey. Her last mailing address was Tehachapi, a woman's prison in California. But Talbot wasn't satisfied. He had to pull one more job, and the car was part of his plan. The Talbots could have afforded a better car, for the suitcase clutched by Audrey Talbot contained $20,000 in cash and gems, the take from Talbot's most recent holdup.
Well, the bus should be here in a few minutes.
Steve, don't do it.
What?
Well, why push our luck? We're free and clear now. We've got money and a chance to enjoy it together. Let's both go to the airport now together.
Honey, just one more job. This one's a cinch. That old jeweler is as dependable as his clocks. Nothing can go wrong.
Anything can go wrong. Suppose the police should trace this car.
This is a legitimate car, honey. The only thing that can happen to it's when it's found abandoned at the airport.
And suppose someone sees you.
That's another reason you can't go with me. It's harder to identify a man than it is a man and a woman together. But the best thing you can do is get out to the airport and make sure of our reservations. And if I'm late, get reservations on the next flight out, wherever it goes.
And if you're too late?
Honey, stop it. I'll be there. Just wait for me.
Wait for you? The last time I waited nearly 2 years. Please, Steve. I don't want to go to prison again. Is this job really worth it? Please.
Now, look, it's all settled. I'll see you at Clovis Field at noon.
Henry Stewart was a victim of habit. At exactly 9 o'clock every morning, he opened his jewelry store. The dusting and arranging of displays took half an hour. And at about 9:30 every morning, Henry Stewart opened his safe, a fact which Talbot, a methodical criminal, had carefully noted.
Now move, Pop, and you won't get hurt. Here, load this up. Quick, come on!
Just had a call from a woman at Stewart's Jewelry over in Midvale. She found the owner in the back on the floor.
What is it, robbery?
I don't know. I couldn't understand her very well. She mentioned something about a safe. She sounded pretty hysterical.
Get the nearest unit over there right away. Have a lad man and photographer join him. Hurry it up. I'll meet you downstairs.
Crime lab.
Steve Talbot drove upstate on Highway 30, unaware that the Highway Patrol had already begun to move into action.
This the woman to call in?
Yes, sir. This is Mrs. Williams.
Where's Stewart?
The ambulance just took him in, dead.
Whatever was here, he got it all.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes, sir.
Anybody here in the shop when you came in?
No, but there was a man coming out just as I was passing by. A young, good-looking man, about 35, wearing a brown suit, I think. Well, it might have been gray, I'm not sure. Well, he was carrying a briefcase. But all I really saw was a scar on his face. It was on his left cheek.
I'll radio headquarters and have him run a check on everybody with a scar on their left cheek. It's something going.
Right. Anything else?
Well, he brushed right by me, almost knocked me over. He got in a car and drove away. Well, it was kind of funny, him driving away so fast, and also I thought I'd come inside and look. Then I found poor Mr. Stewart lying there.
Did you happen to notice this man's car?
No, I didn't. I didn't pay much attention. I mean, I didn't think there was anything really wrong. Why should anyone want to hurt poor Mr. Stewart?
When there's money involved, a lot of people get hurt.
Was there anyone with this man, Mrs. Williams, or waiting in the car?
No, I'm sure of that.
There's no report from headquarters about the description yet. But if there's any prints on that safe, we shouldn't have any trouble running down this thief.
We're not looking for a thief. We're looking for a murderer. Let's get back to headquarters. You get on the radio, huh?
Right.
Talbot's description was radioed to headquarters. Audrey Talbot's fears had been confirmed. Talbot's carefully planned holdup had gained new and far more serious proportions. Talbot's description was being flashed on all the local television and radio stations. Talbot himself was about 35 miles outside of town on Highway 30, another 60 miles from the airfield where he was to meet Audrey.
Mug shots and records of 3 suspects who fit the description.
Give me a look. Steve Talbot. Luke Minnick, Tom Lawson.
They all fit except Lawson. He's on vacation. Alcatraz.
There's nothing we can do to get a report on the fingerprints. Matthews. Who? Come again. A Bishop. All right, send him in. Says you know something about the Stewart case.
Mr. Matthews?
Yeah, that's right.
My name's Bishop, Al Bishop. Best used cars in town.
How are you, Mr. Bishop? Sit down, won't you?
Thank you. I heard the bulletin on the radio, Mr. Matthews, about the murder. I telephoned right away, but you weren't here, so I came right down. A fella came to my place and bought a car this morning that fits that description to a T. Said his name was Richard Price. He had the scar and everything. I remember the scar because I was wondering how he got it. And they were carrying luggage, too, like they were going to take a trip.
What do you mean by they?
Well, he had his wife with him. Anyway, he said she was his wife. Beautiful blonde girl. Looked like a movie star, you know?
Yeah, I'll bet. Would you recognize him if you saw him again?
Sure, I think so. Anyway, I know I'd identify the woman.
All right, forget her. Take a look at these.
These two look a lot alike, Minnick and Talbot. I'm not positive, but I think Talbot's your man.
Steve Talbot, age 35. He's married. Wife's name, Audrey, age 25. 5'4", about 110 pounds. Has been known to be blonde, brunette, and redhead. She hasn't missed much. Did time at the Hatcherby.
Well, the lady in the jewelry store was positive the man was alone.
Well, if it was Talbot, he could have planned to meet her after the job. But if it wasn't Talbot, we'll have to wait till we get a report from the lab. What kind of a car did he buy, Mr. Bishop?
Well, it wasn't much of a car, Mr. Matthews, but it was a bargain for the price. I figured they were newlyweds or something, so I'd give them the most for their money.
What kind of a car was it?
Well, here's the sales slip. I brought it along to make sure. 1941 two-door sedan, blue-gray, license number KHE424.
Thanks. Another roadblock. Alert all units. Highway 11 and 55. Tell them to be on the lookout. Suspect might be driving with a woman.
Right. Look, I'm not positive, but if he's going to travel any great distance, I don't think he'll make it in that car, Mr. Matthews. Not that I'd knowingly sell a man a defective automobile, but after all, you just get what you pay for, you know what I mean? And this guy, Price, or Talbot, just didn't want to spend much money. Of course, I could have sold him a more dependable car, but he wasn't interested. He said he wasn't going to do much driving anyway.
See, man. Looks like his car broke down. Let's give him a hand.
Oh, Jim, do you think we should? I mean, you think it's safe to pick up a strange man?
Oh, he may be in trouble.
Pardon me, but had a little car trouble. I'm in a hurry to catch a plane.
Do you have any idea what's the matter?
Well, no, I don't. I'm not much at mechanics. I'm a businessman myself.
I'm the same way. Well, there's a garage down the highway a few miles. Hop in.
Well, I'm afraid I can't wait for repairs. You see, my plane leaves Clovis Field in less than an hour. It'd take me almost that long to get there if I left now.
Well, if you want to leave your car here until you get back from your trip, I can take you up to Clovis. I'm going right by.
Well, thanks. I appreciate this.
Oh, Mrs. Taylor, is your husband here?
Well, he had an appointment. He'll be meeting me at noon. I just wanted to check.
Okay. Thank you.
Minutes after it had been abandoned, Talbot's car was spotted by a cruising highway patrol unit, and its location radioed to patrol headquarters.
Now, the car was found right here. No place to go on foot in this area. Let's suppose he was going north on 30. We got a roadblock right here.
Well, if the suspect commandeered a vehicle, he should make that roadblock in about 30 minutes. If not, if he's on foot, he should be just about here.
Alert all units in this area. Tell them to use extreme caution. He might have hitched a ride.
Right.
Jim's new job is going to keep him on the road for a year or two. So that's why we invested our nest egg in this trailer. We didn't want to be separated.
It's very nice, Mrs. Rogers.
Are you married, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, I am.
Marriage is a wonderful thing. Don't you think so, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, I do.
We interrupt this program to bring you a further bulletin from the Highway Patrol. The Westbrook holdup murderer has been tentatively identified as Steve Talbot, age 35 years, 5'11", with a distinctive scar on his left cheek.
Jim!
The suspect is believed to be traveling north on State Highway 30.
Okay, mister, pull over to the side of the road.
Motorists on State Highway 30 are alerted to be on the lookout for anyone answering Talbot's description.
Get out.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to get to Clover's Field, Mrs. Rogers. Your husband's going to see to that.
If you lay a hand on her...
Don't get heroic, Rogers.
Please, Jim, let's do as he says.
She's a smart girl. Look, we're going to be in the trailer. If the police should stop you, you haven't seen a thing, you understand?
But how can I stop them if they want to look in the trailer?
That's your problem. When we get to Clover's Field, Mrs. Rogers is coming in with me to get my wife. After that, you're going to take us to the city. Just like you said, Rogers, marriage is a wonderful thing. But I'd hate to see yours end so soon. Come on.
The trailer with its two hostages continued its flight to the airport, while the Highway Patrol concentrated its efforts to stop that flight.
We're only about 10 minutes away from the roadblock. If the suspect was headed this way, we'd have heard by now.
We've got to figure it's going to take him a couple of minutes to get a ride.
Station to 2150.
2150 by.
Crime lab reports prints on safe match those of Steve Talbot.
Okay. 4 more units. Talbot's our man. 10-4?
10-4.
Well, now that we know for sure that it's Talbot, it makes it easier.
Easier?
It must be terrible to know you've killed a man.
It's not so terrible.
Look, if we promise not to call the police, will you get out at the airport and let us go?
Mrs. Rogers, I'm afraid I can't take a chance of being trapped in a plane. If I get out at the airport, I'll have to kill you both. Why'd you slow him down? It's a roadblock. Quick, put on a rope. Remember, if you or your husband try any funny stuff, go on.
Something wrong, officer?
Just a routine check. May I see your driver's license? Notice anyone along the highway, walking or hitchhiking?
No, sir, I didn't.
I see. Anyone in a trailer?
No one.
What's the matter? What's taking so long?
Another police car just came up.
Check the trailer?
There's nobody back there. I just bought it in Westbrook. I'm headed toward Clark City to pick up my wife.
We take a look inside, just routine.
There's nobody in that trailer, honestly. But why should I lie to you?
Well, if you're not lying, you shouldn't mind if we take a look.
Wait a minute. I did lie, officer. My wife's in the trailer. She didn't feel well, and she's been lying down back there. I didn't want to disturb.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to disturb her.
Yes? What is it?
Highway Patrol, I'd like to take a look inside.
Tricks now.
Say you're sick.
Just a minute.
Hate to disturb you. It's just a routine check.
Oh, I was napping when you knocked. I don't feel well.
Mind if I take a look inside?
I'd rather you wouldn't. I'm not dressed.
Anybody else in there?
No, no one.
Thanks very much. Okay, you can go now.
Thanks, officer.
I don't know. That cop sounded like he suspects something.
He's in there, all right. Radio Clark City. Tell him Talbot's on the way. Stop the next civilian car you see. Stay with the trailer. Don't let it out of your sight.
Right. You knew he was in there and you didn't take him?
Couldn't take the chance. We've got to protect the girl and get Talbot. Probably had a gun 2 feet from her head. Now, we know Talbot's going to meet his wife. He's probably going to Clark City. Wait a minute. Clovis Field. That's about 15 miles from here. It's a stop for the local airlines. Let's try it.
It's those cops. They're on our tail.
Oh, but that's impossible. They couldn't suspect anything. They let us go through. Take the car around back. I'll meet you inside.
Yes, sir?
You got a flight going out of here in the next couple of hours?
Yes, we have a flight leaving at 12 o'clock in about 5 minutes.
That gal over there happen to be on it?
Yes, that's Mrs. Taylor. She's waiting for her husband.
Mrs. Taylor?
Mrs. Taylor.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Taylor,
Yes?
I'd like to ask you some questions.
Why don't you beat it, mister, before I call a policeman?
I am a policeman, Mrs. Talbot. It is Mrs. Talbot, isn't it?
I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't done anything.
Maybe not. Steve has. He killed somebody. You're going to meet him here in a couple of minutes, aren't you? The hunch paid off. Talbot will be here any minute. Keep an eye on her. I'll take cover outside.
Let's go get my wife. And no tricks. All right, Rogers, get out. I want you where I can see you. We're going in to get my wife, and then you're going to take us to the city.
the gal go. Give up. You haven't got a chance.
Well, come a step closer, mister. She's dead. Get out of the way.
Why did he do that? If Talbot finds out he's in there, he'll kill them both. Let's go after them.
Take it easy, Mr. Rogers. Henderson, take that car and follow him, but don't get too close.
What are you going to do? Are you letting me go?
Not you, lady. Just your trailer. Dragging that thing around is like wearing a big sign. We're going to make better time without it. You just sit here and don't try anything cute.
All right, drop it.
All right, you take it from here.
Yes, sir.
Come on, I'll take you back to your husband.
That was an awful chance you took.
You're taking a big one. I never pulled a trailer before.
Here's keys.
Thanks. Next week's Highway Patrol story is a very unusual one. I hope you'll be with us. Until then, remember, it isn't the car that kills, it's the driver. This is Broderick Crawford saying, see you next week.